Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to Joe for the virtual gift voucher. Huge thank you my friend for the support, it is truly appreciated, thank you. But on to today. Today we review the Horus Heresy Primarch series novel, Lion L. Johnson, Lord of the First, by David Guymer. Now we'll follow our usual format for reviews, with a non-spoiler scoring followed by a little spoiler talk at the end. So with that said, let's begin by reading the synopsis off the back of the novel. Lion L. Johnson is the paragon of what it is to be a Primarch. His legion, preeminent for most of their long history, typify the virtues of temperance, pride, and martial excellency that the Lion embodies. They are the Emperor's last line and final sanction. They are his Dark Angels. Now while the Emperor gathers his mightiest sons for an assault on Ulanor Prime, the Lord of the First instead draws his legion to the farthest reaches of the known galaxy, seeking to subdue a single rebellious world. Is this but another example of the Lion's infamous pride? Or is there more afoot amidst the graveyard of empires? That is the Ghoul Stars. More than the Lion will share, even with his own sons. So without doubt one of the most eagerly awaited Primarch novels, Lion L. Johnson. And straight off the bat, let's get the main question out of the way and say that David Guymer absolutely nails his portrayal of the Lion. He's a Primarch that can be hard to get right, and this has left us with one or two seemingly out of character moments in the past. But here he feels every inch as Lion L. Johnson should. That fine balance between warlord and hunter, who keeps just what's going on through his mind to himself until the time to strike, which when he does, is absolutely second to none. When he goes to war, the Lion means business. I've been fairly vocal in saying that the Lion has had probably the best portrayal throughout the Horus Heresy series of any of the Primarchs. Yes, he's had one or two seemingly out of character moments, but he's consistently come across like an absolute badass. And as you might expect from his own Primarch novel, that continues here throughout. The Lion is an absolute unit. And while we're at it, let's take a moment to appreciate just how jaw-droppingly awesome that cover art is. Misha Savier absolutely nails all of these Primarch series artworks. I believe he has done them all, and apologies if I haven't pronounced the name correctly, but they are without doubt some of the best Primarch art you will ever get to see. What an age we are living in here. Legends of the lore we could for so many years only dream of, imagining just what they look like. And now we get to see them with our own eyes. But back to the story, alongside this characterization of the Lion, you do get a little more development of the Primarch you've always known. But don't go in expecting anything earth-shattering, because well, you don't get it. We get a good continuation and development, but that's about it. The theme the Lion laid down at the start of the Heresy, with his loyalty is its own reward line, has developed into his most defining trait. He will do whatever his duty requires, no matter what stands in his way. Combine that with the evolution of him being the first Primarch and the first Legion, and how they've embellished this to have a real meaning over time. You really do have one of the most complete Primarchs on our hands here, if that description makes sense. I guess another way of describing it would to be he is a truly well-rounded Primarch. And the author David Guymer clearly had a full grasp of this character throughout this novel. Now, if this novel had nothing but the Lion in it, it would most likely smash a 5 out of 5 scoring for me. However, when the lion wasn't on screen, it struggled to hold my attention, and I did find myself skimming some pages. I even used an Audible credit as well to try the audio version out to see if it struck me any differently, as some novels do sometimes work better as audiobooks. And while it did retain my attention a little better somewhat, with Jonathan Keeble as always proving himself to be the emperor of mankind of narrators, there was still moments I found my attention drifting, and I can't quite tell you why. Because like I said, the lion himself was an amazing character as always. Whether it was the side characters or their story, I can't tell you, because neither were bad by any stretch of the imagination. The lion's reasons for heading to the Ghoul Stars make sense, and the side characters are your prototypical Dark Angels. Maybe it was a combination of the two somewhere, or perhaps it was down to the sheer level of hype I had heard beforehand, giving me an overinflated sense of expectation, something the story couldn't hope to have lived up to. Who knows? Overall, this is a solid entry into the Primarch series of novels. It's definitely better than some, while not quite hitting the peaks of the very best in the series for me. We get a solid and badass lion with some more insight into what makes him tick, which on any day of the week makes a story worth reading. And the author David Guymer deserves credit for nailing this complex individual so well, because like I said, this has not always been the case. The scoring for me is a tricky one to judge. If the Dark Angels are your legion, you're living and dying with the first, then this is undoubtedly a 5 out of 5 must read for you. But for the rest of us, who are fans of the Lion and the Angels, but without them maybe being your ride or die, for me personally, I'd give it more of 3 out of 5. It's definitely worth a read, with some awesome Primarch moments, but with other areas not quite able to maintain that high standard or your attention. Okay, so that's the end of the spoiler-free review. Now we're going into a little more spoiler talk in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so the Emperor moments. As always, I absolutely love any Emperor Primarch interaction, and I was very happy to see that the Emperor made an appearance here. As far as I'm concerned, there should always be some Emperor and Primarch moments in every single Primarch series novel, because these are the relationships we really need to see fleshed out. And of course, we'll dive into these in depth another time. But it was nice to finally get some real Lion-Emperor conversation. But man, I would have loved for more. I guess that's the making of a good story, always leave you wanting more. The Emperor mentioning the Lion sharing his gift of looking past perceptions was a nice little moment, as was having his Dark Angels to eradicate any enemy. But I really would have liked to see more of their relationship. Show us why the Lion is so dedicated to his father, why it is enough for loyalty to be its own reward. We're still yet truly to see why. And it must be said, I do think the Dark Angels are starting to veer a little too far towards Alpha Legion territory. There's a little too much secrets upon secrets upon secrets now. I love the prestige of being the first. It works for the Legion and the Primarch. It helps give them both that sense of prestige and make them stand apart, which is really what you want for every Legion, that small piece of character that sets them out as individuals. Not always easily done. And I love the fact that they have access to arsenals no other Legion may have. It all works perfectly for me and fits the character, which is most important. However, the secrets is getting a little OTT. Let's not forget the origins of the Dark Angels being secretive was from the 40k era and their betrayal on Caliban. I've no problem with it being a trait inherited from the Primarch, but I think it needs to be reined in just a little. They can be secretive without needing a different secret handshake for everyone they pass in the corridor. That's a little too Alfarius for me. Now obviously I'm being a bit sarcastic here, but you get the point. Now the Lion's War on the Crave was definitely the highlight of the novel for me, and having one penetrate into his mind, only to fall off dead, was a typically great Lion moment. It's always overlooked just how much psychic ability he has, and seeing him a master of his own mind was absolutely perfect. That was Lionel Johnson down to a T. It really harkened back to the time the Greater Demon peered into his mind, only to find not a single trace of anything he could manipulate. And the small line about him loving his sons as a father, expecting them to do their duty, just a small throwaway line, perhaps to some people. But to me, that's an important moment, showing there is that man beneath the mask. The truth that the Lion does really care. He is not emotionless. He just hides it extremely well. But as all people, and the rest of his brothers, there are the cracks in the armour. It would have just been nice to get more of a glimpse of this in the story as a whole. His own Primarch novel being the best place to truly dive into his character, showing us a bit more of the emotional side beneath. The perfect way for that to play out could have been a conversation with one of his brothers, which unfortunately was another absence from the novel. Yes, we've seen him with Guymer and Sanguinius during the Heresy, and of course Portrayal at the very start. But a Great Crusade era meeting of brothers could have truly been the perfect opportunity. A way to truly show us a glimpse of the man and brother beneath. Not the argument with Russ, but a true conversation. Say with a Lorgar or Vulcan. An interaction with brothers like those wouldn't just have been a battle of egos, and it could have really shown us the struggles the Lion has, even with interacting with his own kin. No secrets to hide, no agendas to prosecute. A simple conversation with a brother, and I believe Vulcan or Lorgar would have been absolutely perfect for that. Hopefully we'll get a scene like that in the future. But overall, like I said, this gave us a great Lionel Johnson. There's absolutely no doubt about that. You know me, I just would have hoped for a little more insight and seeing him interacting with his family. But I'm very intrigued to see what you guys think, particularly not the #1 Dark Angels fans. You guys who have the First as your first love, I've no doubt will give this a 5 out of 5. But for those of you who don't have them as your first legion, no pun intended, I'd really like to see your opinion. What did you think of it? Is this a 5 out of 5 story for you? And does it go straight to the top of your rankings of Primarch novels? Or like me, were there a few moments where your attention started to wander, where you were just waiting for the Lion to re-enter the scene? How about a Great Crusade era story with a war game between the Lion and Alfarius? Now that would be an amazing read. As always guys, leave your thoughts in the comments below, I love to read them. Huge thank you to all my subscribers, your support truly means a lot to me, it really does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.